Hello and welcome to another video. Not sure how long this one's going to be because I have found a mistake. So I'm going to show you a little bit of the pattern so you can see rather where I've gone wrong. So let me get a spare needle. The camera's a little bit wobbly because I'm holding it rather than using my frame. Okay, so here there are, I'll go in nice and close. There are 1, 2, 3. 3 squares there, yeah? And all down there, 3 squares. And you got 1 square there. All looking good. But, and this is where I went wrong. So, hang on. Where am I? So, this is where I'm meant to be. Grebo, don't push the camera. My cat's trying to get in on the action. So, there should be 1, 2, 3 on the first row, but 4 on the ones going down. Sorry, guys. So, yeah. So, everything is 1 stitch out. So, I've counted. Up here is fine. But this is going to have to come out. And 1 stitch needs to be added to everything down here. That's going to have to come out and be moved 1 over. So, yeah. So, from here, that line is fine because that's in line with the 3 stitches. That's correct. But this is in the wrong place, which makes everything else down here wrong. So, this line just needs to come over 1. And everything needs to come over 1. So the first job is going to be unpicking this line and this line. Everything else can stay in because it's just adding 1 more. And this needs to come out. So I'm going to make a start on doing that. See how far I get. So I'm going to pause now my recording so I can put you into the camera holder. So it's a bit, I need both hands to sit with. So, and unpick with. I hate unpicking. I think everybody does. But when you've got a frog, you've got a frog. So let's get this frog out of the way and we can fix it. Okay, so I've reset my camera. I popped a little needle in there so I can see it on the back when I start unpicking. I might put a second one in as well, actually. So I need to take out this whole row and these 2 stitches and this whole row. So if I put these 2 needles in there, it gives me an idea on the back when I turn it over where I want to go. So this is the bit that people don't see of cross stitch because it's all covered up when it's finished. Like I've said before, I obsess over making sure the back is all neat. And this is one of the reasons why is if something goes wrong, it's easy enough to fix. Now I don't think there's an edge. There we go. So I can start pulling that through and unpicking. I'm going to have to snip this, I think. Or will that be enough? Okay, let's have a look. Sorry, my arm's in the way there. My little pin cushion that I made, it was upside down. Little pin cushion, and it's in a Tupperware box so that if I'm travelling, I can just pop the lid on it and take it with me. Makes life easy. Okay, so, oh good, it did unpick properly. Good. So now I can just take all these stitches out. Again, this is why I don't like to travel with my stitching, because if I'd travelled with this and stitched loads of things on top of it and everything else, then it would be an absolute nightmare to try and fix. And that's when you'd have to start cutting stitches to get them out of the way. Thankfully, this is only a very small mistake, and I've spotted it before it's gone too far. So if I'd used, no, hang on, let me just, if I'd used these stitches to count across to where the grey would start on the other side of the bus, or something similar, then it would have meant that all those stitches would have been off by one as well. And that's when you have to start taking out whole sections, which is not fun. Or you bodge it and make it up so that it just fits. I mean, probably with the window being one square different, probably I could have fixed that and nobody would have known the difference except me. And quite a lot of the time I think you're your own worst enemy when it comes to anything. You don't want it to be wrong. Nobody else would know. Probably nobody else would care. And this I'm making as a gift. And my husband probably wouldn't notice one square off. He wouldn't think to be looking for one square off. He'd just be looking at the overall picture going, oh my god, look at that, it's my favourite bus. You know. Okay, now that's starting to tangle a little. Starting to tangle a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just snip that with my little snippy scissors. And these scissors are amazing. I love these. My little snippers. I have got a couple of normal scissors, but these are my favourite. They're lovely and sharp. They get right into the edges. So it's one down. And because the row underneath, that one there is absolutely fine. It's just one stitch short. So I don't want to unpick that one. I want to come up here and unpick this one and those two stitches. And I think what I've done, I've stitched this row here and then tagged down. So hopefully I'll be able to pick those up, because again, that stitch there is fine. It's now just those 8 or 10 stitches that need to come out, and those ones that need to come out, and then everything else is just add a stitch, and that's easy to do. It's a nuisance to do, but it's easy enough to do. So let's see, where's that? Okay. So on the back it's going to be these couple of stitches here. And if more come out than I want, then it's not the end of the world. What I might do is just snip those. Being very careful not to cut the Aida to make sure I'm only on the red. You can, there you go. I'm just put the scissors underneath the red. Yeah, the scissors are just underneath the red. The last thing you want to do is cut the Aida. Because although I've been told that's fixable, I've never had to do that, and I honestly wouldn't know where to start. I'd probably find a YouTube video. That's what everyone does when they're learning something new, isn't it? Find something to watch and learn from. snip that one as well. Okay, so that should be enough now. I can see I've created a gap. So that means on the other side I should be able to start pulling through and unpicking the stitches that are in the wrong place. Yeah. Okay, so that one's going to be separate. So I'll show you what I'll do with the oh, sorry, I knocked the camera myself then. I'll show you what I'll do with these little tails in a second, but let's get it all fixed away first. Again, I'm putting the needle through the material so that when I turn it over, I can find the right spot easily. Okay. Okay, so that should be coming through the other side. Not sure why it's not. Okay, so we snip it. It's not salvageable anyway, it's not like I can reuse it. If it was one straight line and I was unpicking loads, providing it didn't get all tangled as I was unpicking, I might use it again. But it's often not necessary because there's plenty of material in the packs usually. Very rare I run out of a colour. I don't think I've ever run out of a colour. It doesn't mean it's not possible. I mean, if you've got a frog a lot, does everyone know what I mean by the word frog? So when you frog a mistake, it means you're unpicking it. I'm not entirely sure why they call it frogging, but they do. And is it Shakespeare? Ours is not the reason why, ours just to do and die. See, I said in my profile I was slightly eclectic. Stitching and Shakespeare, look at that. Okay, so that is now clear. So I've just got this little tail to tie off. So okay, now normally you wouldn't have such a tiny little bit of silk left to tie off with, unless you're playing thread chicken, where you're using your very last bit to finish off the stitch and a half or whatever without starting a new one. I do have a little stitching buddy, but I can't find it. Oh no, that's not good. Alright, I have to do it the old-fashioned way, but I'll do that bit off camera because I need to. Actually, no, I can do it. It'll be fine. Right, so what I'm going to do, get the needle unthreaded and push it underneath as if you were tying off after you finish stitching. So 1 or 2 stitches at the back like that. So it's going through 2. Push it all the way, almost all the way through. And normally I'd lick the end of this material, but I'm not going to do that on camera. So I lick my fingers. There we go. So now, just tilting it as much as possible to give you some space. I'm going to thread it through. I'm saying I'm going to do this on camera. There we go. So it's through. And then I'm just going to pull it through so that now that is nice and secure underneath those threads. And I can snip the back. And that's tied off. Nice and safe. So all these need to be tidied up a bit, but it's not too bad. So where I'd unstitched down the bottom there, that was already tied off because it was the last bit of thread. I must have gone down and that was the end of it. So I don't need to worry about that. So now, where the mistake was, which is here, is now ready to be restitched in the correct place. And then I can start adding things. I will remove this, but I'm going to do that and fix it ready for next time. But just so you can see how much has actually been done, zoom out a little bit so you can see it properly. Okay, apparently I won't zoom out a lot to show you, but I'll move the stitching further away. So there's actually quite a lot been done. So last time none of this was done, only a bit of this, and I finished the big section down here. So the next job is going to be filling in my gaps, and this is where Big Ben's going to be, so that's going to be interesting. I'm still working on the bottom 2 pages. I haven't even begun the top 2 pages yet, apart from the very top of the bust. I think these top 2 lines are on the next page up, but I wanted to start with the bust because that's the centre of the picture, and you always start with the centre. So it's where I've been pulling it around, it's gone a bit loose, so I just tighten that material off again. I will have to start moving the Aida because once I've done a bit of gap filling over here, I'm going to want to do over here on this side. So I need to move my hoop, move it over a bit. But that's a video for another day. That's all I'm going to do for now. I've fixed my little mistake without ruining it. There's a little bit of red on the Aida, but you can't really see it. And once I overstitch it, you won't see it. If it was an area that wasn't going to be covered, just a very small bit of damp cloth, not wet, damp, and just giving it a little bit of a rub, and it'll come off nice and easy. So that's it for today. I will probably be back with another bust video first before I come back with a video of the map, although the map has grown quite significantly since the last video. If you're not watching that series, there is another video on my channel for you to go and have a look at. And I will be back with another video soon. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.